Hello, welcome to this lecture. So in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the compression member. So in this, we will see the theory of compression member, what is compression member, and these are the topics that we will cover in this lecture. So when we talk about the compression member, now as the name suggests, the member which is subjected to compressive force will be termed as compression member. So as per the definition, a structural member which is subjected to compressive forces, along its axis is called compression member. So in the diagram you can see if it is a member and if it is subjected to this force, then it will be termed as a compressive member. So basically this force which is trying to compress this body, it is actually trying to decrease the original length of this body. So that is the nature of compressive force. So as you can see here, compression member are subjected to loads that tend to decrease their length. Well, in the steel construction, there are so many structures where we use compression member. So for example, if we look at the building, so in the building, if you see here, uh, all the vertical members, these vertical members which we call columns, so all these columns are basically the compression member. So all the vertical members in this building, they are the compressive member or compression member. Similarly, in this frame also, all the horizontal members, they are beam, but all the vertical members uh, which are column, so these columns are compression members. If we look at the truss, so in the truss also, there are some members which are in tension and some members which are in compression. So that depends on the configuration of truss also. So if you look at this truss, so these inclined, these blue lines, they are actually called the struts. So struts are basically the member which are uh, taking the compressive force, and we call tie member like the red one. So these tie members are the member which are subjected to the tension force. So we have already discussed about the tension member. So now in this lecture, we are going to discuss more about the uh, compression member. So all these blue members, you can see these are the compression members. Similarly, in this truss, the truss is composed of members which are actually subjected to tension or compression. So all the red members, you can see all these red members are in compression. Well, how do we find out this whether a particular member is in compression or tension? Basically, we first analyze the truss with the application of the load, whatever load is applied on the truss. So first we analyze the truss, and we analyze the truss using some methods like method of section or method of joints. So with those methods, we try to find out the members, I mean the force in each and every member. And with that method, we can also determine whether the member is in compression or in tension. So once we get the force in member, then we decide which member is compression member and which member will be designed as a tension member. If you look at the bridge, this bridge is basically of Howrah Bridge. So in the bridge also, there are some members which are in tension and some members which are in compression. For example, in the bridge, you can see this vertical member, they are in compression. Similarly, this upper line of the steel sections, they are actually in the tension. Similarly, if you look at this K, this K line, so these K lines, they are in compression. So this I am telling you with my judgment, but if we try to analyze it, then even in the analysis, if we will find out that these members are subjected to compression. uh, Compression member, if we look at the equipment that we use in our construction, say in, for example, the cranes. So this part is called the boom. So in the boom part, you can see this vertical lines. These lines are subjected to tension, and you can see all these these lines are composed of very small members. So these small members in so these members, some of these members are in compression and some of these members are in tension. So again, it depends on the analysis. When we analyze all the members, we can find out that some members are in compression and some in tension. So I am showing you all these photos so that you understand that where are the application of the compression member. So compression member found very wide application in the steel construction, in the buildings, in different types of building also. Now coming to another concept, sometimes we call axially loaded compression member and eccentrically loaded compression member. Well, we need to understand the difference between axially loaded compression member and eccentrically loaded compression member. Well, if the force, if the subjected force or the applied force, if the line of action, if the line of action of the force passes along the centroidal axis of the member, say for example, this is the pipe member, this is the vertical column section. So vertical axis, centroidal axis will be passing along like this. So if the load is passing along the centroidal axis, longitudinal axis actually, then the the column or the member will be termed as axially loaded member, which means the load is passing along the longitudinal axis of the member. Similarly, if it is not happening, like in the second diagram, you can see the line of action of this force is this, while the centroidal axis or the longitudinal axis of this member is passing like this. So there is a distance between the line of action and the centroidal longitudinal axis, and this distance is E. So this E is called the eccentricity. So larger is the eccentricity, the load carrying capacity of member will be decreased. And if the value of E is small, then the load carrying capacity of member will be higher. Okay, so eccentrically loaded columns, design of eccentrically loaded members is very difficult, while designing axially loaded member, it is quite easy, and we can determine and we can utilize the strength of member, strength of compression member more if we are designing members as axially loaded, while in case of eccentrically loaded column, the maximum utilization of the strength of member may not occur. Then there are different cross sections that are being used as a compression member. Say if you see single angle section can be used as a compression member in truss, and double angle again in truss, and T sections. Then others single sections are like channel sections, wide flange I sections, similarly hollow pipe sections, square tubes, and rectangular tubing. So up to H, you can see they are single angle, single sections actually, except this one. And then from I onwards, you can see there are different sections which are being composed, and they are actually composed into a single unit. So they act as a single unit. So such kind of sections, they are called built up sections. Say in this case, you can see the section is composed of two channel sections. This again composed of two channel sections. This one again. So different configuration can be we can made. That depends on the magnitude of the load that we have to support. So based on different configuration, we can compose sections with two or more sections. So if we make if we are designing any member which is composed of two or more sections, then we call them built up sections, while like this case or this case, they are actually single sections. So in case of heavy load, we generally design compression member as a built up sections. So we will continue our discussion in the next part. Thank you.